Check. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I request you all to kindly be seated, take your seats, and put your mobile phones on the silent mode as we're about to start in the next few moments from now. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, all our guests, I request you all to kindly settle in, take your seats, and please keep your mobile phones on the silent mode. We're about to begin shortly. Thank you. All right, well, a very, very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and a very, very warm welcome to the 4th annual Kikoman Culinary Experts Meetup 2026. My name is Astha Sethi, and it is absolutely my pleasure to be hosting this event for all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to be seeing such a distinguished gathering of our esteemed chefs, of the industry leaders, and the students here at IHM Pusa. Everyone, can we all get this afternoon started with a round of applause? Come on. All right. Thank you. Well, this afternoon, followed by the evening, is all going to be about really insightful discussions as we go through the panels. But for that, let's all try to keep the energy very, very high. I hope that everybody has had a good lunch. So let's try to keep the energy levels high. What we're going to do is, I'm not going to take more than 40 seconds of yours, but let's all try to clap better because you would be needing that, okay? We're all going to clap with the level of my hand. So when my hand is here, all right, please hear me out. You will all clap very, very slow like this, okay? I should not be able to hear that. And as I increase the level of my hand from here till here till here and up there, the sound of your clap should be really, really high. You know, IHM should know that this event is happening here. Okay, are we all ready? Lovely. This one, come on, show me the hands. All right. Okay, this one. Yes. This one. Yeah, this one. This one. And this one. Amazing. So this is the kind of energy that we are going to be maintaining throughout this afternoon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today all of us are gathered here to delve into a theme that actually sits at the very heartbeat of the hospitality industry, the intersection of credibility, of safety, trust, and deliciousness, of course. Now, in this era of rapid changes where every day all of us are evolving, we are here to explore together what truly defines a trusted, dining experience. And now, to officially get this started, to kick off today's proceedings, I would like to invite Mr. Harry Hakoe Kosato, Director and India representative of Kikoman India, to share his opening remarks. The floor is all yours, Harry-san.
No, it does work. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody else, thank you so much. I know it was a little bit of a slower start, but all good things take slow, good time. So when I was thinking this morning of what to talk about, I wanted to talk about effort. I mean, there's a huge amount of effort that has come here today for all of you to be here. So first of all, thank you so much. But I want to talk about 3 efforts. And when I was thinking about effort, people don't realize how much effort is involved in, say, making a product or making a dish. We kind of take it for granted, if you know what I mean. And obviously, you woke up today or you travel from wherever. We want to acknowledge the effort, right? So when I was actually doing a little bit of history, digging about Kikoman, Kikoman started in the year like 1661 or something, 350 years ago, right? And actually, the bottle of soy sauce that you are all using, or whatever good product that you're using, there's an incredible amount of effort that goes behind such a product, right? Secondly, what is very important for you to also realize is that the industry here in India is so much growing thanks to so many efforts of all of you chefs, restaurateurs, people in the industry, people who are in also looking at the standards and looking at making sure that we have all the right products. But today, we have some very incredible speakers and a very august group of people who are also culinary young students who are here, who's going to be the future leaders of India. So I encourage all of you to spend great effort listening and enjoying and being part of this great exercise. There's a lot of effort expended so that we all can enjoy and learn from each other. Thank you so much. Now, we didn't know whether the gentleman from FSSI, Rajit-san, was able to come, but he's come. So he was not part of the script, but now he's part of the script, and we're going to ask him to say a few words, if you don't mind. Sir, please.
So thanks, Harry, for having me here. And because the topic, when I saw it, it's like, for us, it's like super important, especially the first 3. The last one, we don't really bother too much. But the first 3 are like on the top of our mind. But I also wanted to come and interact with you because there are a lot of a lot of criticism of our job. So I wanted to explain how difficult it is and how huge the country is, and where we have a lot of stakes with the state governments and the food and beverage operators. So I've got a prepared speech, but so I'll try and read it out if it's not too boring. And I'll welcome any questions or comments. So food safety. Food safety is not merely a regulatory requirement. We consider it a right. So in today's rapidly urbanizing India, one thing which we are facing nowadays is that more people are eating outside their homes. When we were children, going out for a meal was a big thing. But now it is like with e-commerce operators, now youngsters are getting their food at home from outside. So this is something which I don't know how much we are prepared for as a society, and how much our food and beverage operators are prepared for. I'm very happy here to see a lot of chefs. We have a lot of training programs where we try to train the street food vendors, because still more than 90% as far as some statistics go, more than 90% of the food consumed outside is from is not from the organized sector. It's mostly from the unorganized sector. And unorganized sector face a lot of challenges in terms of hygiene, safety, and the cooking, reuse of cooking oil, and things like that. So when we organize these training programs, I'm so happy to see so many chefs here, because what we wanted was that the chefs working in, you know, good, high, clean hotels should come and train the street food vendors, for which we have, you know, the normal remuneration and the facilities and everything. So so this is what we want to do, and that's why I was very keen on coming here and interacting with the youngsters. You have the students also of IHM. IHM is considered one of the best hotel management institutes in the country. So we assume that, you know, the people who are passing out of IHM are well trained in all aspects of food safety. So we have, I don't know if all of you know, we have an Eat Right India movement, where for each state we have a thali, which we try and promote and say that this is what you should have on your plate. How much of vitamin, how much of sugar, how much of salt, how much of minerals, how much of proteins. Nowadays you have youngsters who have, in our view, having too much of protein and less of carbohydrates and other vital parts of the food chain. So we have a Eat Right India movement. We have, for each state, we have a thali. So with your support and help, we are trying to propagate and you know, tell everyone that this is what you should have. Many of you might be aware that the Honorable Supreme Court has also given us a direction regarding you know, the front of the package nutrition labeling, where basically the aim is that we should now be consuming less sugar, less salt, and less saturated fat. Honorable Prime Minister has also launched a campaign for consuming less oil and on obesity. So Eat Right India, the movement, is based on 3 pillars. It's eat safe, eat healthy, and eat sustainable, because that is also one important thing where we are trying to promote sustainable food. So it builds on the collective action of all stakeholders, the government, the food businesses, civil society organizations, experts. We have a whole lot of scientists. We have about more than 200 scientists who are helping us in this field, and professionals, development agencies, and citizens at large. So as was mentioned earlier, we have a training program, and these training programs, we are trying to also have street food hubs. For example, if you I mean, many of you would have gone to Thailand or Vietnam. Their street food, at least their vendors, are, I would would not like to admit, but they are better than ours. So how do we also make sure that our street food vendors are at a global standard? This is also related to the tourism that our country needs to attract more and more tourists, and Secretary Tourism is also very much on board in this whole initiative. So there's a, on one hand, then there's a culture of eating, healthy eating habits across various settings, like in schools. So in schools, we are trying that we should not serve what we say unhealthy or HFSS food in the schools. Similarly, in other educational institutions, I hope, I don't know, in IHM we have you know, healthy food. So so we use various platforms, but unfortunately, like most government setups, our followers are much less, and we have nowadays food influencers which have millions of followers. So a lot of the things what they say, I would not want to contradict, but some of the things that they say are not entirely true. Some of the things are myths. So how do we counter these myths? We also need to work together on that. We've also have a campaign called Har Label Kuch Kehta Hai, which we are trying to encourage people to read the label, whether it's at the back or the front. One should read the label to see at least what is one consuming. We are encouraging the food and beverage operators to put a QR code, because nowadays everyone is using a QR code. So to put a QR code so that any youngster or anyone, why not youngster, anyone can scan that QR code and see what the ingredients are. There are some youngsters who have developed their own app. So we don't want to make value judgments. So youngsters have developed, so there are many apps and they're all in the progress of testing. So once that prototype comes out in the market, then one can choose whatever app you have, like you choose your health app, and you can also choose an app and see how much and what kind of food you're consuming. So in restaurants also, the menu labeling regulations are there. So it's also now people are becoming more aware. So they are also demanding that even in a restaurant, if we want to order food, we want to see what are the ingredients. I would also like to highlight the importance of food testing. So we are trying to increase our testing infrastructure. Right now we have about 250 testing labs. Most of them are in the private sector, which we have outsourced, and they have to get accreditation from NABL. Besides that, we also give funds to the state governments to set up labs. We also have food safety on wheels. So right now we have across the country around 350 trucks which are mobile, and they can also help in testing. So the testing, the idea is that the more the testing, the more the quality will improve, and the more pressure will be on us and the FBOs to give better quality. So the government alone cannot transfer the food system. The chefs, I've met a few chefs up till now, and I think chefs are ambassadors, not only of taste, but also of safety and health. Your role as chefs is critical in shaping public health outcomes. So as we gather here today, I urge all of you, culinary leaders, restaurateurs, FBOs, educators, hospitality professionals, to help us, and both of us can work together in strengthening a culture of food safety and healthy eating. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Rajat Punhani, for sharing such an inspiring tone with us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward and take this program ahead, it is a profound privilege to welcome a true visionary to the stage, a man who has been fundamentally redefining contemporary Indian cuisine for the global audience. As the former culinary director of Indian Accent, he led the restaurant to international recognition, including consistent rankings in Asia's 50 best restaurants. And now today, as the founder and culinary director at EHV International, he continues to lead the way with Comorin and his association with Niraba, bringing his progressive culinary philosophy to even wider audiences. Well, we are absolutely and truly honored to have him with us today. And now he is going to share some of his perspective and expertise with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage Chef Manish Mehrotra. We can make this louder, everyone. Come on. Thank you.
First thing, I'm not a culinary director of EHV anymore. Kya baat hai? So I just started that's good, na? So I worked for almost 30 years. I am a 1996 pass out from IHM Bombay. So it's been 30 years. So I was a bit tired of working. So I took a break of 1 year. I think every chef should do that after working for such a long time. And then in that break, I really enjoyed myself. Whatever things I have not done in last 30 years, I did all these things in my 30 years, and then started a new restaurant called Nisaba in Delhi, and that is 1 month, 10 days old. So, so that is what I am doing now. So everybody was asking me, so how you are feeling to being a owner of a restaurant? I said, I'm not going to be owner ever. I'm always going to be a chef, and I will think like chef only, and that is what I am doing. So there's no restriction on hiring people in my kitchen, chef. You are saying, Chef Manjeet Gill was saying that hiring of chefs becomes a problem, but in my kitchen, not a problem. So we still hire more and more people, and I got few points for the keynote speaker. So the first was for my and Chef Gill's favorite topic, authenticity of Indian food. We always talk about this thing, and I have a different point of view, he has got a different point of view, but we all agree that we should not play around with the cuisine. And since the world is changing, we are becoming global. So authenticity is one word which is now getting a back seat for all the restaurants, even French food, Italian, Indian. So they're getting a back seat. So authenticity is important, but when you're doing something new for the global food, you can take the baseline and then do something on your own. That will be, you will be more creative in that, and your cuisine will move forward. So that is very, very important, that if you keep doing the authentic stuff again and again and again and again, cuisine will not move forward. And if the cuisine has to move forward, you have to do something new to it. It doesn't mean play around with the authenticity and start making butter chicken with activated charcoal. That is not authentic. That is not a butter chicken I would like to eat. So whatever you do, there is a thin line between authentic and what you call it modern. I have stopped using the word contemporary Indian food or a modern Indian food or a progressive Indian food. I think India has already become modern. We have an Indian restaurant which has got 3 Michelin star, which every chef in the world crave for. We have an Indian restaurant which has got a 3 Michelin star. So we have already become modern. So we don't have to, you have to stop using the word modern Indian food. It's passé now. So we should say Indian food of today's India. That is important. So what I do and what other chefs are now going to do is Indian food of today's India, whether it's Gagan doing, Himanshu doing, Varun Totlani in Mask, Sabi, all of us, we are cooking Indian food with our point of view, our perspective, but it is Indian khana. It is not modern Indian khana. It is Indian khana with our point of view. What Gagan is doing totally different, what Prateek Sadhu is doing is totally different. What I do, totally different. But we are all cooking Indian food, authentic Indian food with our point of view. So that is what authenticity should mean in today's world. Chef and owner, there is always a struggle. Owner की सुने या chef की सुने, profitability देखें या restaurant की quality देखें. That battle will always be there, but honestly speaking, ingredients are very, very important, but how to use those ingredients are even more important. I can give you the best ingredient in the world, but if you don't know how to use it, you're going to spoil it. And honestly, I've been chef for 30 years. I've been part of F&B industry for 30 years. Chefs are very, very important for a restaurant, but only 45%. 55% front of the house is important. Being a chef, I am telling you this. Because a chef can make best of the food, with best of the ingredients, with best of the technique, in best of the crockery. But if a server just throws the plate in front of somebody and say, khale, that entire work of a chef is gone. So as a chef, everybody should understand, now cooking is not only about cooking, it's about experience. And experience is everything. स्वादिष्ट खाना खाने के लिए मैं चांदनी चौक जाऊंगा, वहाँ पे चाट की दुकान में शायद स्वादिष्ट खाना खाऊंगा, लेकिन एक्सपीरियंस शायद नहीं मिले मेरे को. I will not get that kind of experience. But now people spend 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, or Noma was doing a pop-up in California, which ticket was, they have cancelled it. There's a big controversy. $1,500 for a meal per person. So they are paying not for the food, they are paying it for the experience. So world is changing, chefs should also change. I am also changed. 15 years back I used to throw pans in the kitchen, now I don't. I don't do that because everything is changing, everybody has to change. And as a chef, as an owner, for me, what I want to change is not the front of the house. I want to change back of the house. What all things were wrong in the back of the house, as a chef owner, chef entrepreneur, my job is, my duty is to improve those things. कि दिन में 200 लोगों को खाना खिलाने के बाद अगर वो बंदा खुद अच्छा खाना नहीं खाता है, that's not correct. If he is not having that experience, all these things, if he is not working in a comfort level, definitely, as a restaurateur, you have challenges everywhere. You are opening in a mall, you are opening in a market, you don't have a back area, you don't have all the infrastructure which a 5-star hotel can provide. But at least there are thousands of ways which you can keep them happy. So for me, chef and owner में सिर्फ ये फर्क आया है that I have to improve the back of the house, not the front of the house. That is what, as a chef owner, I want to do. Now, there are lots many topics is going to be discussed. So I don't know. There is one thing, quality ingredients. Again, I talked about quality ingredient. Price of the ingredient, honestly, food cost is one such thing which never goes high with ingredients. Food cost goes high if you waste those ingredients. If you utilize those ingredients properly, your food cost will never go high. Whether you're using truffles, whether you're using caviar, Indian accent, when I used to do Indian accent, we used to use caviar, truffle, this, that, everything. Food cost was 20%. So food cost is nothing to do with the cost of ingredient. It's the way you use those ingredients and how much you do wastage and bit of a menu engineering, what sells more, what sells less. So that is important. And now we are going to discuss many, many more things. So let's move forward and start with the panel discussions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chef Manish, for sharing your invaluable insights with us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we take this evening ahead, we now jump into the first panel discussion of the day, the title of which is The Essence of Trust in Food, Designing Psychological Peace of Mind. Ladies and gentlemen, building on the philosophy that we've just heard, this session is going to bring together a diverse group of experts right in front of us to explore the invisible threads of trust that resonate with the hearts of all our guests sitting here in this room today. Now, to lead this conversation, I'm absolutely pleased to welcome our moderator of the session, Ms. Sumana Mukherjee, a veteran journalist and editor with over 30 years of experience. And now joining her on the stage, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our distinguished panelists, Mr. Anosh Ranbise, Senior Executive Pastry Chef at Levon Academy. Dr. Nandita Iyer, Medical Doctor and Nutrition and Mental Health Expert. Chef Manish Mehrotra, Founder and Culinary Director at EHV International. Chef Rituparna Banerjee, Chef and Founder of Nutcase. Last but definitely not the least, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, General Manager with Marriott International. Thank you everybody for joining us on the stage, and over to you, Ms. Samana.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, everybody, and to my fellow panelists as well. Thank you for being here and making the time out on a busy Friday to spend the time with us and hopefully share your experiences and your insights into this industry that you're so deeply engaged with. We are missing one panelist today. Anosh could not make it. Today is also the graduation ceremony at his academy at Levon, so which is possibly the reason he's been held up. So we'll start the conversation looking at trust in the food industry. You know, it's a very sort of powerful word. Because it works both ways, because the consumer needs to trust you as much as you need to trust the consumer, you know, and that's a pretty tricky balance to maintain a lot of the time. Chef Manish, I'll start with you. You've been in the industry, as you said, for 30 years. You've set up your own restaurant at Nisaba today. And my question to you is, what defines a restaurant that is trusted by its guests? How does a restaurant earn trust?
I would say lot of trust with the restaurant is, first trust comes that you get good quality food, hygienically cooked and served in a nice environment, clean environment. That is one thing what everybody, all the people who go to eat outside expect, whether he's going to a thela wala, whether he's going to a restaurant, whether he's going to a Michelin restaurant. That is one thing everybody expect. And every restaurant and everybody who's serving food should understand that and from the beginning start working towards that. But it takes time for that restaurant to build that particular thing. And especially in the restaurant trust level, it's very ironical that when we see a restaurant which is a fancy restaurant, we trust that restaurant more, where I can't even see the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we don't trust the guy on the street who's
Yeah.
cooking in front of
Yeah.
you. We don't trust him.
Yeah.
So it's ironical because वो हमारे सामने बना रहा है सारी चीजें. Even then I don't trust him. And we go to a fancy restaurant where I don't see what is happening behind the scene. We trust them more. So till now there was a huge gap between guest and back of the house, which slowly started shortening, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
After COVID, the guest and chefs, everyone in the industry, become more aware of not only simple hygienic thing, but a lot of other things about the ingredients, about what they are eating, about calories. I am not in a favor. So
Yeah.
if we are going to a restaurant, if we indulge, don't worry about the calories. You should not worry about the calories. Calories you can count at your house. So that thing, people are becoming more aware that where the ingredients are coming from. But a lot of things in trust, what is going wrong nowadays is the storytelling. There are a lot of stories. Everybody says their restaurant is farm to fork.
Yeah.
Not a single restaurant in India is farm to fork. Not a single restaurant. Not a single restaurant in India is farm to fork.
Not in its true sense, not in the
Yeah.
in the sense of growing sort of its own ingredients or farming its own
Yes,
meat. Yeah.
yes. It's not possible.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So that trust is very, very important. And now it is becoming more prominent, and people are getting their, people are giving access to their kitchens, people are access to their ingredients, which is happening, but it will take a little time.
Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting point of view, and we'll come back to a few of the points that you made. So I'll ask Dr. Nandita. She's a doctor, columnist, very, very multifaceted, mother, and also a very, very popular social media influencer. If you see her Instagram handle, Saffron Trail, you can make out, she creates a lot of content about food that with a very different point of view. It's not about finding the hidden gems in your city, but it's more about unearthing what goes into your food, the stuff that you don't see. Nandita, I'll ask you this. As a consumer, what is the point of view that you bring to trust in a restaurant when you're going to eat at a restaurant?
Yeah, thanks for having me here and the very generous introduction. I think to just build on what Chef Manish said, the first thing is, we kind of don't see this point that literally eating food, whether it's at home or in a restaurant, it's really the most common way to bring the outside into the inside of your body, right? But we take it so casually. We are also so trusting that anybody gives us anything on the street saying, this is something, you can take this. We just put it into our mouth and we don't think twice that this could literally kill us if this were something bad. Because, also this point I want to make about natural versus artificial, which is so much in the social media these days, that every food they say, no, this is a chemical, this is artificial. But the most lethal poison in the world is 100% natural. It's ricin, which is from castor beans. So literally food has the potential to kill us. At the same time, on the other end, to nourish us over a period of time. So having that trust in a place to know that I'll eat here and I'm going to go home safe. And if we do that, that's really a great thing, because we have, at least the food has not done us any harm. So it's also like the medical oath, right? Like even if a doctor does not cure you, he should do you no harm. And I would extend that same logic to food, that even if that food is not mind-blowing delicious or it's not the best experience of my life, at the basic level, it should not do me any harm. And I think that is the first step of having a trust in allowing anybody to feed you, not just a restaurant or a street vendor or anyone's house that you go to.
Right.
That's the basic trust we place in them, right? It's literally giving your life in someone's hands. At a small level.
You can't make chefs take an oath like you do with doctors.
Yeah, so I think that's the most basic level of thing. And the second thing I would say is if somebody is known for something or they're promising something, then I would expect the least to see that. Because, hey, I didn't come here asking for this, but if you are promising this, if it's a part of your brand, if it's a part of your tagline, then you should at least stick to that. So I at least see that promise being
just
held.
being honest.
Being honest. And sticking to your line. I think those are the two things I would just start with. Of course, there are so many other factors, but like he also said, if I'm going out to eat, I'm not expecting some superfood or some health food or something that's going to cure me of something. It has to be good food, safe food, and a good experience. And this is the basic level that I would expect in terms of trust.
Okay. Rituparna, you've been behind many places around India, very fun places. Right now, of course, not cases on everyone's sort of mind. How important is trust to sustain a business?
I think trust is everything. It's the odd, the even, the center of it. It's the crumb around the business. Good, trusted restaurants. I feel restaurants that has been able to build trust, they're like good doctors. You know, you want to go back there
Yeah.
again and again and
Right.
again. And in a country where our general behavior is very loyalist, especially at least the city that I come from in Kolkata. Every family has their favorite restaurant. They don't mind going there for 15, 20, 30 years. And everything hinges on trust and consistency and quality. So
Yeah. You know, and trust is often the center point of a lot of marketing sort of effort, right? So, I mean, whether it's a masala, it's a spice brand, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's any kind, that's sort of the nub. That is, you are asking as a business, you're asking the consumer to trust you. That's sort of the, but beyond marketing, because, you know, food is a space which where you can't just do good, you also have to be seen to be doing good. I mean, that perception is very important. So how do you build that, especially with a young, fluid customer base?
I would take two examples. One thing that is definitely happening, and we see it happen with a lot of young brands, is we promise something but we deliver something else. Let's say the packaging says Kovicha, but you are actually using Kovicha probably only 10%, everything else is compound. And there's no harm in saying that I'm using compound. It's a consumer's choice.
Yeah.
That they would decide whether they want to put that particular product in their system or not. By misleading and miscommunicating with our consumers, we are actually taking that choice away from them. So that's something which I find very unfair, and everybody who is actually building new brands, who is venturing into the industry, I think this is the core, that you have to be transparent, you have to be as open about your venture, about your product to your audience as possible. And the second thing that I would like to say is, I think today, I mean, before, when we did not have social media, it took time for us to build trust with the audience. Today, every chef, every individual who is working in the industry has a platform, they have their voice, and thousands of people can hear them. They can tell the story, they can communicate and build trust. So that, I think, is a very powerful medium.
Yeah.
If we talk about where my produce is coming from, or which honey I'm using, or you know, my spices are not adulterated, I'm making my own blend, I think you know, the sugar is natural, or I'm not using any sugar in certain way. I think every single small or big communication helps. It helps in building trust, and expectation levels are set,
Yeah.
be it within the team or with the guest.
Right. So when you say, Rituparna, that you know, what you are bringing to the consumer needs to know what they are putting in their bodies, right? But that also calls for a level of engagement from the consumer and the education, you know, which is often sort of missing. I mean, it may be too much to ask for from, like, if someone's going to buy like fabric, it could be like cotton, it could be synthetic, but that's something you can tell on perception. But food, you can't always do that. Nandita, that's something that you work very closely with, right? You're in educating your followers, your Instagram and the social media followers about what constitutes food and what constitutes quality. How has that experience been for you in sort of in finding trust in among your sort of following?
You mean how am I building?
Yeah, I mean,
trust?
why do people trust
Yeah,
you to sort
okay.
of on food?
See, a couple of things. One is food. Food in general is very subjective, right? So when you're talking about a restaurant, for example, what I consider great, somebody else might say no. And also, because of the nature of social media these days, everybody is making their point so strongly, and it all depends. Like Might is right. If someone has 5 million followers and he is dissing a restaurant, and those many people are just going to trust him
Yeah,
blindly.
yeah.
At the same time, somebody else who has a great experience but has a small following, their voice is kind of not as powerful or not as heard. And it's the same even for me when I'm talking about health and nutrition in relation to food. Uh, like for someone who's qualified in medicine and nutrition and mental health and working with food for 20 years, I feel like, you know, while someone might think my following is considerable, it's kind of moderate. But at the same time, when someone who's not qualified in the sciences or in medicine or in health at all, and they have millions of followers, and they're just saying anything, and that word is being taken as this
That's
is
sort of
true.
gospel, yeah.
And all the work that we are doing is just kind of making them unlearn that stuff, which is like following some very silly things like having these 5 juices in the
Yeah.
morning, skipping that meal, having X grams of protein, and talking about different kinds of sugar, but saying no, this is sugar free. I mean, this is just double the work for people, health educators like me, who are like trying to tell people the right thing and using science-backed and evidence-based things to educate people. But be aware, but don't fear everything around you, because you have to eat 3 meals a day, and if you
Yeah.
start fearing every food and
Yeah.
every ingredient and every restaurant and finding fault with everything, then you literally, I
Yeah.
can't even say love
Yeah.
and fresh air, because
Yeah.
there is no fresh air anymore. So I feel like building trust is very hard in today's environment, because for every one voice there are like 10 other people saying contradictory things.
Absolutely.
And of course the power of WhatsApp, which
Yeah.
people need to do nothing, just forward button, and they'll say forwarded as received. Arey, but did you even read what are you
Exactly,
forwarding? So
exactly.
it is hard.
It's a difficult
It is
environment.
difficult.
Yeah,
It is
a
difficult.
environment.
Yeah.
Sanjay Gupta, I'll ask you this. So you're working on building a sort of massive hotel right now, and you have had an experience in building brands. How important is trust as a factor in the the 4 components of hospitality, which is like cuisine, operations, service, ambience?
Wow, thank you, Sumona, for asking this question. It's absolutely a lovely question, which I have done over the years. But before I dwell into your answer, let me thank the audience. Let me thank the organizers and everyone for having me on the stage. I've just been a month old in the city. I went back to Bangalore to work and then got transferred over here. So yes, I'm opening this 800-room, 600-room Marriott Marquis and one 200-room St. Regis complex at the AeroCity starting October. It's a huge complex. Everyone says it's massive, it's huge. What will help us in bringing this entire thing together is, I think, trust, right? So that's the first thing. So dwelling upon your question, if I really have to think through trust, and everything has been said, and probably I'm also going to say the same thing, Sumona. Probably the choice of words may be slightly different, but the anecdote and the entire paragraph what I speak would be pretty much same. So talking about trust, two words which really comes in my mind is one, paramount, and the second word being cornerstone, right? I think trust is the cornerstone and it's paramount for everything because it starts building loyalty, right? How would you come to my hotel? How would you come to my restaurant? Everyone says that build a loyal customer, right? We have a good loyalty platform called Bonvoy. Why so many people register? It's one of the best loyalty programs in the world because they have trust in our brands. They have trust in our people. They have trust in Marriott Hotel. So that's the cornerstone, Now, if I have to really fragment when building brands from the scratch, for cuisine, I think what works well is the ingredient integrity, right? That's really very important. Chef Manish Malhotra told, I was talking to Chef Gill, he was also talking, pretty much echoing the same thought, Savi was echoing the same thought. I think ingredients integrity is really very, very important. Sourcing becomes extremely important, Your supplier relationship becomes really very important. Today, I think great restaurants, great chefs, all the great hotels are going to the source, to the farmer, And there is a very specific reasons to it to source the ingredients right from the farm, right? Because there is some amount of mismatch they may have already found from the place where it's growing till the time it's getting into your hotel or your restaurant. So I think ingredient integrity is really very important. I think suppliers relationship is very important. And the third thing in cuisine perspective, when you're building a restaurant, when you're building a brand, which is really very important, is the safety standards, right? The hygiene, the sanitation, the cleanliness. We had the CEO of FASSI, and what he talked about meant every word to whatever he said. So cuisine to me works really well, and all these things actually boils down to one thing, that you are trying to build trust. People close their eyes and comes to your place to either dine or get the sons and daughters married or maybe stay in your hotel. So that's really very important from a cuisine perspective. Coming back to operations, what's really very important is reliability and transparency. The group talked about transparency. Honest communication is, I think, the cornerstone. It's really very important. You say what you do. You don't say what you don't do. And that's really very important, you know. It leads to reliability. People would start believing in you, right? It's a very thin line of one wrong word or one wrong statement, and it leads to fiasco. So from an operation perspective, I think what is really very important is transparency, which leads to reliability.
Right.
You know, and while building a brand, service becomes really very, very important. Ambience is extremely important. A nice, good, clean facility, maintained facility, good-looking facility will bring back people. So there are lots of experiences, I'm going to say, which we follow in our hotel, right? There's something called an arrival experience. When you enter the porch and the lobby, how do you feel, right? The look of the flowers, the look of the plants. There's something called a sensory experience, you know. Every hotel's lobby and every hotel has a designated signature perfume, which really attracts you, okay? There is a discovery element from an outside to the inside world of hotel. And that is so very, very important. So visually, from a hygiene standpoint, from an AQI standpoint, especially in Delhi, these things really become extremely important from an ambience. And all these things, if you see, and if you do it correctly, leads to building a very, very trustworthy atmosphere or a trustworthy organization. I would say for me, a trustworthy hotel.
Yeah. So you see time as being a very important factor in the building of this trust, right? It is not something that's done overnight.
Exactly, absolutely. It's a lot of effort, it's a lot of patience, it's a lot of perseverance, and it's a lot of time.
Yeah. Chef Manish, I'll come back to you. Because you've been in this profession for a very long time, have you seen the perception of safety, of trust change over that time? Is it something that has come to the forefront only recently, while it was much more, say, unquestioning, maybe when you started your career? Because, you go into a restaurant, the kitchen is invisible, the food just seems to come out like magic, and you're not really questioning what is going on behind the closed doors. Whereas now we see a trend towards a very, very Japanese style sort of kitchen bars, where you see the people actually at work making your food. This transition that you've seen, say, over 30 years, how do you kind of rate it? Well, what do you attribute it to?
I think 50 years back or 100 years back, people used to trust restaurants more than what they trust us now. You are from Bangalore.
Yeah.
आज भी MTR के बाहर line लगती है. आज तक I don't think so anybody has seen the kitchen or any fancy food they serve, but there's a trust. There's this trust that they'll get clean, good, tasty khana. Experience-wise,
sort of, First thing was like, if it's hot food, it's okay.
Hot food.
Yeah.
So that trust.
Yeah.
Then slowly, when I won't say social media, because social media is one such thing you should never trust going to a restaurant for a social media review. Forget it. Never, never, never trust social media for any restaurant, including mine.
Yeah.
So social media is totally no-no because reels with the tandoori momo gelato gets more likes and views than a good biryani, I would say. So, so yes, trust factor have changed. People have become more aware of things, and environment has also changed. It's like, I don't think so pollution in Delhi 20 years back was
Anywhere
that
else,
great.
Yeah, it was actually before the CNG buses and all that. For
It
those
was,
of us old
it
enough to
was,
remember
it
that,
was when I used to remember, I used to go on the bike on a Ames Choraha, your face used to be black.
Yeah.
That is 26 years back also. Now we know about AQI and all these things.
Yeah.
Now we worry about number the AQI. You don't see anything else. You just see AQI kya hai. So that kind of a thing is becoming more and more prominent. Yes, so people are now questioning. They want to see the ingredients. They want to know about ingredients. They want to meet the chef. They want to see the kitchen. That's good. It should good.
Yeah.
It should happen like that. And I think more these boundaries become shorter and more transparency comes. I think that is fine.
Yeah.
That is good, and it should be encouraged.
Sunlight being the best disinfectant or whatever they say.
And honestly, what people should believe in what the substance is rather than the story.
Yeah.
Sourcing from like restaurant have reached such stage that in the menu they are going to put farmer's Aadhaar card also. That
Provenance,
this guy,
yes.
this Aadhaar card guy is growing my wheat.
Right.
I don't know who grows my wheat, honestly. I don't know who grows my rice.
Right.
But I source it from that is my trust on that
In your
supplier.
supply chain,
So same way, guest trust on me, my trust on that
Right.
supplier.
So that is a continuous line as well. Yeah.
So that is the thing.
Yeah.
And that will always be there. And slowly, more transparencies. See, now everybody has got a most powerful weapon in their hand is
the phone. Yes,
camera.
of course.
So they can click anything, and trust from the restaurant and the eating place or a hotel anywhere starts from when you enter. If you see a cockroach in the fanciest of the restaurant, you are not going to trust. If you see a cockroach in a hospital, you will not trust. That's the most hygienic place it's supposed to be. So, piche, front of the eyes, first thing we have to make sure that is
That's the 55% you were talking about.
So that is very, very important. And more this gap reduces. Better for the guest, better for us also. It keeps us on our toes to make sure we improve.
But you know, we've had these scandals in India recently about adulterated masalas, about fake cabbage, about the paneer being suspect, all of those things. But when we come to your restaurant, Manish, we know that what we are going to get is something we can trust with the eyes shut.
True.
There's that word again.
True.
Have you had instances where people questioned your food and said like, okay, this is not sitting right, or any sort of instance where your trust has been actually sort of discussed or put up for?
Absolutely, many times.
How do you deal with that?
We all work in a restaurant industry, hotel industry, and one of the most common thing where you break somebody's trust is foreign object in your food.
And that happens. I mean, we
Kitna
all
bhi control
know,
kare. First thing, the biggest problem with us as a country, as a community, हमें बचपन से सफाई सिखाई नहीं जाती है. There's everybody in their kitchen put the board, clean as you go, clean as you go. But that is the least followed thing, because हमें घर में वो चीज नहीं सिखाई जाती है कि गाड़ी का कांच खोला, कूड़ा फेंक दिया, अपना घर साफ किया, बगल वाले के यहाँ फेंक दिया। तो ये चीज हमें बचपन से नहीं सिखाई जाती है, वो हमारे किचन में भी नहीं होती है। वो he is cleaning the table, but he is putting all the kachra on the floor. So that is one thing which day in, day out, we have to teach people. We have to teach people day in, day out.
It's a cultural thing,
It's
right?
a cultural thing. So slowly things are improving. I'm not saying there's no improvement. Slowly things are improving. So more it will happen, it will good for everyone.
Rituparna, as a sort of a young entrepreneur building new places, new spaces, how do you build that narrative of trust? How do you sort of educate your personnel, your staff inside the kitchen that this is something that is that needs to be an unbroken line, right from your front sort of your door to the back of the house? How do you sort of build a narrative of trust that extends to the consumer?
I think trust needs to be built with open arms, and it starts with trusting the team first and empowering them, telling them that if you feel something is not right about a dish, you can take the decision of 86, you can 86 it and it's okay. If you feel that today the produce is not up to the mark, let's work together to find an alternative. But that, I think, trust comes from it has to be ground up.
Like the smallest things.
Like the smallest thing, and it cannot be top down. It cannot be a directive that you put from top and say that, okay, this is how it needs to be done. And I mean, at Nutcase, what I have done is the entire team has a certain decision-making power when it comes to the product and the service. So that end of the day, when it comes to the final experience for the guest, be it with the product or the service experience at the floor, they can ensure that there is 100% authentic, honest experience. I mean, it is a bar end of the day. I don't know whether we can talk about spirits. The industry has a lot of malpractices when it comes to alcohol. You see a bottle, but you get something else. In an open bar where guests can see exactly what is being made, the first thing is you trust in an instant that you know if they're picking up this bottle, that's what you're getting. Second thing, the fact that we are not trying to hide anything and just being as open as we can. I think in that entire process, somewhere trust is getting built. And consumer eventually passes trust with repeat visits. The loyalty that they show us. The fact that, next time they come, they ask us questions that, okay, last time you give us this, but this time you're doing this. I mean, it happened with us. We have a dish where we use kachki mach, which is a very seasonal, which is a beautiful small fish. In monsoon, we don't get it. And for the longest time, we were struggling to decide what to do. Do we take it off the menu or not? The team worked towards, finding alternative. We found dry fish. We created the same dish with dried fish, gave it to the guest, and eventually the guest came back asking us, it
for
feels
the
different,
okay,
but what did you do?
That's
Because
accountability, right? I
the
mean
menu does not read different. It's the same fish but in a dried format. And coming out as an organization telling them that, you know what, it is the same fish but we are using a different method. It is dried instead of fresh. I think that's today's consumer should get that. I mean, if somebody is making you accountable and they're asking the right question, we should just open up and share that help us build trust. And I think as an as a team, we have to just be as open as we can to trust each other and then pass the trust to the consumer.
Onto the thing. Sanjay, I'll end with one question to you. Does trust rest with the brand or with the individual, or is it not a binary at all?
I think it rests with both brand and individual, right? You know, research indicates that the more you have trust in people, the better brands you make. Trust me, I've read it somewhere.
Yeah.
I made a note of it. I remember it. Now let's dwell and let's go a little backward to understand who makes or who builds better brands. It's the people, right? Brands just doesn't get built on itself, right? I'm going to give you a very weird example, but look at the Taj Mahal which stands in Agra today. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world, right? Someone built it, right? But people came and people saw, people talked about. It became famous in the world so that it becomes the 7 wonders of the world. It's the people who makes the brand. So just to answer your question short, it's both. It's individual and brands, you know, stands together.
Yeah.
So that is really very, very important. Today, if we go to a restaurant, famous, infamous, whatever, you know, like Chef Manish gave an example of MTR. I came from Bangalore, right? Why would I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drive from Whitefield, where I used to stay, to go to Malleshwaram Veena stores to have that idli? I can see in the kitchen that every idli which comes out is absolutely steaming hot.
Yeah.
Why would I stand in front of a Vidyarthi Bhavan and an MTR, and I'm happy standing and gossiping with my friends, even if it's 45 minutes to an hour, to have that one dosa?
Right.
Right? It's them who kept on doing the same thing again and again and again. On the hindsight, in the front side they were doing a job, but on the hindsight they were building a brand and the trust.
Yeah.
So to sum it up, I think it goes hand in hand together, and the big brands are always built on people.
Yeah.
That's what I want to.
Yeah. So the food business is basically the people business, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I think on that note, we are ready to pass on the our seats to the next panel. Thank
Sure.
you so much for listening to us with so much attention. I hope you learned something from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sumana-san, and all our panelists for such a thought-provoking discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, can we all once again put our hands together? I'm sure that all of us have a lot of key takeaways from today. Now, moving on and taking this evening ahead, everybody, our second panel discussion tackles a very, very crucial question: fake or real? Cultivating an eye for authenticity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to lead this conversation, please welcome our moderator on the stage, Mr. Bikramjeet Ray, a prominent food writer, critic, and editor. Thank you, sir, for joining us on the stage. And with that, joining him on the stage are extinguished panelists. Yes, sorry, my bad. Well, Chef Sabi Garai, celebrity chef and founder of Fabrica by Sabi. Everyone, can we all please put our hands together for him? Chef Bakshish. Sorry, please go on, sir.
No, Sabi and Vikram have gone. They're back. Where's Sabi? It's very difficult to get chefs back once they've disappeared.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
We've had a few health issues with our panel. Kabir was supposed to come, but his son is not well. So, and Chef Megha has some issue with her shoulder. We have one more person who's who's a reflection of what is happening here, who's got food poisoning and can't come. So that is pretty much about having fake food. But please, sir, Pratik.
Just to introduce everybody formally, ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us Mr. Pratik Arora, founder and owner of Kula Restaurant. Can we all put our hands together for him, please? And we also have Mr. Vikram Khatri joining us on the panel. Over to you, sir.
Vikram Khatri, who started his life as a sushi chef.
One of the chefs in a Japanese kitchen.
Yes. Okay, so our topic is going to be fake and real, and how do you cultivate an eye for authenticity. And very important when you're in the restaurant industry to know what is good and what is bad, not only in the stuff that comes into the kitchen, but also the people who come in and work in the kitchen. So let me start with Bakshish. You are the greyest among us because I've lost all my hair, and you've also been in the industry. So tell me from your experience, and you've been here for what, 35 years? In 35 years, how have you seen the market for ingredients change in the country?
When we started, it was the early 90s, and ingredients were very scarce and not really available. Now the market has really opened up, and we can see almost every possible ingredient that is used in global cuisine is available in the market. But then you need to train your team, train yourself to identify which are the best and where to buy them from. And very recently, I've been pestering this fellow because I wanted to introduce octopus, and the octopus that we get in the Indian waters is a very small octopus, 500, 600 grams. So eventually, with help from friends like him and other people, we've landed up on octopus now, which is 2 kilos, which I recently received. So you have to find your source to get the ingredient right and to identify which is the best.
Okay. Sabi, you've been also here for many, many years, and one of the things that I was talking to somebody about is how the restaurateurs and the people who were working in the industry, even someone like Chef Gill or Manish, they set the taste of what people think is authentic. Okay, then the authentic things turns up. What do you do then? Your carbonara, most authentic Sabi, that is the carbonara. Then some Italian guy comes and makes, and then everyone says, oh, okay.
Largely for me, I've been part of the international cuisine movement in the country, and slowly started working with regional cuisines around 2010-11 when I moved to Soda Bottle, or as part of the Olive Group, Soda Bottle happened. So yes, this question is very relevant for international cuisine, that your carbonara in India that you're eating as carbonara may not be the carbonara at all. And the same thing happens with the tiramisu. What you're eating as tiramisu probably is not the tiramisu at all at its source. And definitely that was the case with the pizza, that now I've learned a little bit more about Neapolitan pizza. I know what we served as pizza initially wasn't even the pizza.
You do a omakase, pizza omakase, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. We learned omakase from Vikram,
Yes,
so
exactly.
we said,
So
yeah, now that we have
bringing it all together. Yes.
Now that we have learned omakase, might as well throw it somewhere. Yeah.
this all-day dining, multi-cuisine kind of feeling आता है.
देखो अभी हम नहीं करेंगे तो कोई और करेगा.
Okay, all right, fine, good.
So, correct.
Cocktail, yes, of course. Thank you, chef.
तो कोई भी नया चीज आपने सीखा तो कहीं तो आपको इस्तेमाल करना ही चाहिए उसको. तो ये ओमाका से सीखा था हमने विक्रम से. तो I also learned kaiseki and izakaya and omakase, 3 good strong Japanese words. और मैं तीनों को इस्तेमाल करता रहता हूँ जहाँ मौका मिलता है.
Now we have.
I remember when I first met him, he was the only Khatri who used to chop fish and make the most amazing sashimi and sushi at the Nico Hotel.
Sounding like the executioner.
Yep. Oh. Correct. Pahadi and cutting fish is not really a thing. So Bengali cutting fish.
Not even trout, something else. Yeah. Like back to your story. Sorry.
Manish hota to fir bhi chalta hai. West Bengal, Bihar, that whole belt. But Maharashtra.
I was wanting to add on to what you were saying. Now we have the Ammakase also.
Thank you so much. Yeah, great
service.
Look at this. Now this is why you build trust. That when you come to Pusa,
that was the first panel. This is a different panel. Please, confusion mat karo.
No, this is the trust.
You wanted to be on that first panel. I put you on this one.
No, I ordered coffee when the first panel was going on, but I still got it. Which means you can trust that if you ask for something, you get it.
This is celebrity. When you're on the stage, you get the coffee. When you're an audience, you don't get it. Yes.
So coming back to the question, I think local palate matters a lot, and that's why probably this whole thing is a bit, at times you have to bend it a bit. So whenever I've done Italian recipes, I've added a dash of extra chili. Now I'm not saying masala, but I'm saying chili, the heat. because that has definitely helped us to gain a market. When we did me and Chef Vikram, very lucky to have worked with him at Chef Nitin is also here from Where is Nitin there? Sleeping or what? Hello, when I said Nitin and you at least look up and respond. Kya, theek hai? So ho gaya. I'm just kidding, man. So we, the thing at what happened is we did you were part of that movement that time. You had come.
I was a customer who would come and eat as many meals as possible at
That's great.
Until it got bankrupt and shut down.
No, that was a different story. It didn't get bankrupt. The judges' court opened across the road. And as I happened, sorry, it's not disconnected, but I must tell you how things also happens in this industry.
This is going out live. There may be a judge watching. Yeah. You know the NCRT.
We had Mr. Edison came up with this bright idea of naming his nightclub Love Hotel. And people started getting lots of ideas with the name Love Hotel. It became a banging success, and the music bothered the judges.
You're using the banging in a party sense.
Yeah. Okay, coming back, and this is the last one. I'm going to still try and answer a question that maybe once in a while you need to work on that. And at we did that. A lot of the Japanese, because I would spend a lot of time in Japan. And every time I would eat in a Japanese home, nobody served me ever sushi or sashimi. It was very much typical a Japanese restaurant thing. And every time I asked them, they said, look, sushi to ek hi bar khate birthday, like how you go cut a cake. I only go to a restaurant to eat sushi with my mother, grandmother, father. When is my birthday? So once a year wala scene hai. So daily to aap cake khate bhi nahi hai. Waise you don't eat sushi every day at home. So we did a lot of Japanese home recipes that was suitable because large part of our clientele were vegetarian. And large part of our clientele didn't have exposure to good sashimi. Now everybody's eating sashimi or sushi. A lot of it is like questionable sushi, but let's say people at least have an exposure. Back in 2005, to serve raw fish because we're the first standalone Japanese restaurant of that caliber outside a 5-star, because 5-star had its own captive clientele. The Nikko Metropolitan had the Japanese guys who came and ate. I had nothing like that, and the judges didn't really also approve of us. So we had to get people to come in and eat, and a lot of it were vegetarian recipes, and people didn't even know that such vegetarian recipes existed. Like the curry rice, I don't know if Vikram still remembers. Some of those recipes were very typically of something that you eat at Japanese homes, and none of it is about sushi and sashimi. So yes, if that way you have to bend the authenticity a little bit to attract your local audience, why not? Because you also have to eventually run a business and pay bills, and pay salaries, pay rents before it gets bankrupt. Yeah.
Okay, Pratik, your restaurants both are had an Indian angle to it. When you're looking at Indian food, what is authentic and what is fake? How do you decide? Are you the decider? Is the customer the decider? Is the chef the decider, or the ingredients the decider?
Well, thank you for putting me in the spot with all the chefs around. I mean, since I don't cook, I can always take a very different stand on this whole matter. Like, what does it really mean to serve authentic, real, true to the cuisine kind of food, right? By definition, if you really look at what restaurant food is, none of it is what we have in our home setting, right? It's not like home food became restaurant food and then it became modern or it was authentic. So I think from a point of view of running a restaurant, you take 50% of the power in your hands in trying to be true to what is on the menu, so that what you write is exactly delivered the same way. I mean, you can always have prefixes like Chef Manish was saying that, progressive, contemporary, and now finally, it has evolved into just being an Indian restaurant. But it's also the 50% which lies with the customer of how they perceive it. And I think it goes for all cuisine, including our own cuisine. Like I remember when we started Kula, we used to call ourselves a modern European, right? And that European definition, when we were trying to translate from our food to keep it as true to the flavors and the ingredients and everything, it really didn't 50% of the times translate the same way. So we had to let the customer also own that power and say, okay, you are trying something which is close to the idea of, in your words, authentic, but we like it this way with chili flakes or some added things which, don't come from the kitchen. Same I'm seeing in the Indian food. We are still new in this space. It's only been about a year, a little more than that. What I'm seeing is that at least in Delhi, the perception of Indian food largely is also driven by what people have been having over the last few decades. Like I see 2 generations or 3 generations coming in, each having their own let's say, perception and predisposition towards what they expect on the menu. For example, if we try to encourage small plates and different regions, but when it comes to mains, a lot of times people ask, hey, where is my garlic naan and dal with the side of onion and chutney, right? So in that matter, even if we are trying to...
You have to blame the gentleman in the red turban for this dal. Yes, this is the man who's responsible for all the... No, I'm talking about the kali dal.
I said garlic naan with kali dal.
Garlic naan is that.
So
That what you are recommending, we don't give garlic naan. You can leave the restaurant, but you don't get garlic naan.
Fine.
Because
Kali dal.
Chef, I need you as an ambassador
you
because I've
cannot-
tried doing that. People have slapped me in my face saying that we
They
leave the
may,
restaurant.
but when you trust the brand, in that brand, people think they might be wrong. Brand cannot be wrong.
Of course.
So
But
that's the power of the brand.
That's
Okay?
where we are trying to balance the consumer expectations with the creativity that we are trying to do and the commerce of it all. So I think that's where
And I remember
that
when
trio of factors comes in.
Chef started Indian accent, he had to put black dairy dal.
Oh yes.
He had people coming into manner and
We've
saying,
done-
"Ye kya khana hai?" I was at a table, I remember when this...
Yeah, we've done wine dinners together.
And I
we've
used
seen
to give a
huge hit.
reason. I used to give a reason because the quantity of dal and the dairy product is 50-50.
Yeah.
So why you call it only dal? Call it a dairy dal.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So Bakshish, I want to go back to when we first met, and Bakshish had started the first variation of fire, which was his attempt at doing modern Indian, when there was nothing like that really. And it was accepted to a certain extent, and then there was a lot of confusion as well, and then it's now become a totally different restaurant. When you're looking at authentic flavors, how much do you have to stick to your guns and say, listen, I am going to be established in this, I don't care about the guest? Because there's a way of doing that. Manish did Indian accent and he made sure he chose the stuff which he thought would work, and it worked brilliantly. It was the right restaurant at the right time, and it was what we needed. But when you're doing something which is absolutely different while trying to be authentic, when do you compromise?
This was a very interesting project we started, and this was probably the very first attempt that we saw and we made. And we really did not know what to do with it. So it was actually a group effort with the participation of Miss Priya Paul, who is very, very dear, and she's very focused on what she wants to do. So I was there in that panel, she was there, and then there was our general manager, Mr. TPS Oberoi. His exposure was great, and he was a great, he was fond of food. So we sat and debated, and it took us a year to come to conclusion that we must do something progressive. That means something that an Indian restaurant has not attempted. And what we decided is that let's work with the communities of India. Because we all agreed that, the food that the world talks about as Indian food is not the real Indian food. We don't make naans at home. I don't make I'm a Punjabi. We don't make tandoori chicken at home. We don't do all those jhal frizzy or any of those styles. So let's put the real Indian food in a restaurant and see how it responds. So then once we crossed this barrier, we started researching. We worked with about 43 communities of India, right from Kashmiri Pandits to the Bunts from Karnataka to the Mapilas from Kerala, and many more communities across. And we started debating, discussing with them, getting the right people with us to work. We did not want to work with any professional chef, because what happens is the moment a recipe like this comes into a professional kitchen, there are shortcuts that are built. We did not want to do that. So I identified like a dermatologist who was researching on Bunt cuisine. I sent a team to, encourage her to come to Delhi because she was based in Mangalore. So we flew her down, we spent time with her. She took out the notes and showed that, what she saw on her off days, she would go to these communities and write down recipes because she wanted to document Bunt cuisine. And similar thing happened with Mapila food. We landed on Abida Rashid, and she's basically running a big catering company with 3 people, and she caters to like 5,000 guests at one time with just 3 hands. And then I was very curious how they do it. She says, we just have 3 dishes. 1 sweet, 1 biryani and 1 kebab. And that is, each team is responsible. They have their own cooks and they work together. And because it is a community where the boy marries into the family and comes into the girl's house, those cooks have been there forever. You know, so she got her home cooks and we started work with them. This is how we built, and then we decided that, okay, let's start some plated form, but we did not compromise on the recipes. We did work on the recipes a lot with Dr. Shikha Sharma, because we wanted to really make them healthy. So we worked on the fat, because you know, all commercial recipes, once they come to the kitchen, you know, a lot of fat gets added onto it, because fat, as all the chefs know, you know, fat is flavor. So we broke that. We decided we will do every recipe with the prescribed fat. Like if a recipe has to be done with sesame oil, it will taste good only if it is done with sesame oil. If we start doing it with, you know, regular oil, so desi ghee recipes were done with desi ghee, sesame recipes were done with sesame. Some things we picked up from Punjab were only in mustard oil. Like a bhindi will only taste good, Punjabi bhindi, if it's done in mustard oil, or a Karela is done, you know. So we actually worked on all these parameters and we came up with this beautiful concept which we called FIRE.
What was the food cost?
Food cost, we were maintaining a good food cost of about 28%. So that was not really really off the charts or anything of that sort.
But the other thing I'm saying is that when you're looking at a restaurant and you see the success and you see the acceptance or the difficulty, and you do so much research, how do you gauge that when you're going for the authentic against what other people may be showing something which they think, oh, that's authentic, and it's not?
Yeah, you know, we were all over the place, so it took us time to just make some sense and, you know, put things together. It took almost a year from when we started the restaurant to really find our, you know, groove in what we want to do. And, you know, I started with Western cuisine and I trained with the French chefs for probably the first 15 years of my life. So any challenges that I would see in executing a recipe, like the musallams, I saw that our Indian chefs are not able to execute it right. So we started debating, discussing, and I said, why don't we use the confit style method and do a musallam? We did like a dry marinade overnight, and then we cooked it not sous vide, but confit style, and it was like a success, immediate success. So our duck musallam and our ran musallam was done that style.
That's a very interesting point you're making. In your strive to get something authentic, is it the flavor that you're looking at or the process? Because in a lot of places they say we will do a 3-day something and the process. But something like this, people have been making, you know, Bernaise sauce and all these 5 mother sauces. Now everything is in a packet. It tastes the same. What is your take on that? Yes?
I was about to talk about the musallam. I think that was
Please talk about the musallam first.
It was a path-breaking dish, and thank you, Chef, for putting it together. Is the mic on? Can you guys hear me? Thank you. It's probably not working. So, Chef Dean was definitely Fire was path-breaking in various ways. I was one of the ardent fan of Fire, and then it became a nightclub, like it happened to I also. It became Fire with something. Agni.
Huh?
Yeah. So it eventually becomes a nightclub. Every good restaurant. I don't know what happens, barring
Nisava.
No, Nisava is new, Indian accent.
Indian accent. Maybe it's a different kind of nightclub.
Yeah. No comments. No comments. Cameras on you, so say no comments. The musallam specifically was an exceptional dish because we all know musallam is a difficult dish to cook. In our college 3 years, if we have not attempted any, one of the dishes happens to musallam. I would leave again Chef Gil and Manish to speak on this because the 2 masters of this one subject. But simplifying it to make it, because as a European chef, I knew confit very well. It's just that I could have never made those 2 connections the way he made it, and I think that was a stroke of genius. The moment that happened, now you know, damn, I have the process, I have the technique. If I get the right ingredients and train my team, I can also make a musallam. Now, as a guest coming in, I don't think guest would really ask for a recipe. if they love the musallam, this is the best musallam. So then you can't really say this is the authentic musallam and not the authentic musallam. Whoever knew, like, it is happening to Halim a lot. Yesterday at the lounge in Calcutta, when I was getting into the flight, I saw Halim. I'm greedy, and during Ramadan I'm in Hyderabad and I'm eating Halim. Now suddenly Calcutta airport lounge is serving Halim, that to two kinds of Halim, chicken and lamb. I'm like, wow, yeah, life is made. You're not.
Kathal Halim was not there. Kathal Halim.
Fire had a very, very good veg halim, I remember, which is incredible.
Yes. So I'm sure they didn't do that, right? At the airport lounge, if they were serving two varieties of Halim, where Hyderabad, that guy वो नाव के तरह लेके बैठा रहता है, पूरा दिन वो मरता रहता है, और उसके साथ दूसरा बंदा
गति से आया फ्लाइट से, वो वहां से चेक इन करके चेक आउट करके वो डाल
तो
दिया.
अगर दो, and I kid you not, forget me as a chef, even as a diner of appreciating Halim, if it was served to me, I could have never said that it is from a airport lounge, specifically the mutton. It was so close to a good Halim. So whatever the process, may have they used a combi steamer, they must have used a Thermomix, pulverized it in a kitchen, one of those blenders, but the end result was phenomenal. And nimbu and mirch was there on the side, dhania, mirch, nimbu. So I'm like, this dude, life is made. So I think that is what Chef showed us, and every time I talk to Chef Gill, we discuss this so at length, that some way or the other we have to bring in these ideas and thought processes, because at the end of the day, as a guest, when you go to a good restaurant or go to a, let's say, a hotel or restaurant, you are expecting experience. You're not getting into the length of it कि whether कि 6 दिन से बना है. पहले हम लोग लिखते थे 18 hours slow, yeah, and then 3 days of marination.
So here, Sabi, like coming from a completely structured French background, I started identifying what are the struggles. So our nihari was always made in a combi oven. There was an overnight mode in combi oven. We would load them up and leave it for the whole night. So it's cooking, and in the morning we just finish it. And so is the case with dal makhani. We will wash nicely, do everything, load it up in the night. By morning, the grain is so well cooked and opened up, and then the guy takes about, an hour of good simmering, and our dal is ready. So basically, you have to find that balance.
Bakshish, you made an important point when you're doing your research, saying that when it comes into the hotel and it's made into a recipe, it changes a bit. Yeah. But one of my kind of observations has been the problem with authenticity in Indian food is nothing is never really written down. And in fact, I remember I had a friend of mine, Chef Jacob Sahaya, who passed away, unfortunately.
We worked with him.
And he would refuse to share his recipes. How do you go and build something when people are refusing to give you information? That is one thing. B, the variations, how do you deal with it? How? Huh? Vikram?
If you talk about innovation and authenticity, as I think Chef Manish also said, authenticity could be one way of projecting it. In fact, before chipping my question and answering that question, I think we were talking about musallam. And I'll go back to my
everybody's like death dish is musallam. Everybody's IHM
so my
death
working
dish.
days of with Marriott, so Western Pune, that was my last working place. And there I think we changed the Indian restaurant. All the Western has this Indian restaurant called Kangan. So Western Pune was the first one to kind of name it Afreen. And there the idea was it is still a small, cozy 45-seater, not a big fancy restaurant, but then beautifully done. And there we did this Indian menu, and team worked really hard to pull things together, where we didn't touch the the modernness or maybe bringing in the contemporary Indian part of it, but we still played with mixing two states together and bring out dishes together. So there we did fish musallam, and that was taken with flying colors. So there no such marination. Of course you can't marinate that fish for 3 days, but then the technique and everything what we did with a pomfret, for sure there was a fight to get like the decent size of pomfret, but yes, it was well accepted. And
back to the question I asked.
Yes, the question was
the question was, where do you see authenticity with recorded recipes
Yes.
because there's no connection
Yes,
as far as
yes.
Indian. And Indian food, I'm saying generally, you can't. I mean, Indian food is no longer an acceptable term, I think.
Absolutely. But then I think Indian food has already been passed as generations, right? I mean, whether it's home to home or through chefs to chefs. We have legends sitting in right there. Maybe, answering that question for me, I think will be like, like very tiny. I mean, I'm very...
Chef?
I said, see, cuisine has to move forward.
Absolutely.
You have to, and now world has become such a small, the French chefs who are like so many years of Michelin star, now they are using ingredients which are not French ingredients.
Chef,
So are they playing with, like everybody is using kaffir lime or a lemongrass or
true.
a saffron or Indian ingredient, even garam masala. There's no standardized recipe of garam masala, but they are using garam masala.
Because Manish, that is new for them.
That's
we
what
are
I'm saying.
experimenting with their ingredient,
That's
they
what I'm
are
saying.
experimenting with
That
ours.
is not they are playing with the authenticity. It is slowly, all the cuisines in the world will become global cuisine. It's a global French, global Indian, global Chinese, global British. So it will
And there is
Fusion
nothing
to
called
nahi hoga na.
authentic.
See, fusion was
Ganda word.
any two things mixed without reason, not correct.
Manish, I think this word that we keep talking authentic, if you really think through, what we call authentic now would have been novel at that time, no?
Absolutely.
When it evolved. So that means it has to go through that process of evolution. This small tool that you use in your hand, your smartphone, we were dialing for many years until somebody thought, yeah, we must add features to
And
it.
now people
and now
don't-
it's a part of your life.
And
so
now people don't see the dial
cuisine
phone
also
in the
has to
home.
evolve like
So
that.
that's what I'm saying. Cooking biryani in a combi oven is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It does the same thing.
But again, there are purists who will always debate it, and it's a nice debate. I love to discuss that.
it's
But again, you have to move on.
Absolutely.
Purists don't normally work in commercial kitchens or get the heat or whatever.
So I just have a quick viewpoint of this commercial kitchen part, and it's very beautifully put by chef that when you bring in commercial food, you immediately food into commercial kitchens, it immediately adds oil. So in the previous debate there was a lot of discussion on cornerstones. I think our Indian hotels, most of us started our careers in hotels, and then most of us started our careers in hotels. Thank you, chef, and then moved out to restaurants and stuff. The cornerstone was GG paste, chop masala. या OT मसाला, which I think Taj taught us OT मसाला.
OT मसाला?
OT मसाला. देखो ये आपने नहीं सीखा ना, तो मतलब कुछ नहीं सीखा आपका. Means हाँ, GG paste, OT masala.
They were making it because during the first panel I could smell onions being cut.
Somewhere, देखो without OT masala कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. So GG paste, OT masala, and तड़का was जीरा धनिया मार दे. The three things, these are the three pillars of the Indian cuisine. So almost everything ended up tasting the same because everywhere the same OT masala was used. And that is why probably it's so important to bring in the recipe and retain the, I wouldn't use the word authenticity, but the soul of the recipe, rather than putting OT masala or chop masala and GG paste and then jeera dhania.
But the thing is that GG paste, we are using it for last 50 years. Still, no chef can say what is the proportion of ginger and garlic in it. Every chef has got a different proportion.
That's now used in all homes also.
That's what I'm saying.
Sir, आपका proportion बताओ. Chef Gill.
Chef Gill on the GG paste.
No, you see, I'm hearing it now for a long time now, discussing. According to me, the word authentic is absolutely not to be used with the food. Ethnic, there is nothing called authentic food. Can you define authentic? Or you know the English word, this authentic or know the spelling, what it is? So food is dynamic from centuries, not today. Food is fusion since the culture starts mixing from centuries back. People started traveling, the fusion of food started. So it is, these are not the new. Understanding these things, we just keep talking with food and create them.
And sir, samosa jalebi is a very good example.
So the food is dynamic and food keeps changing. We talk about authentic. Now we have totally forgotten that authentic food is to cooking on coal or cooking on gas. You all converted it to the gas. It's not a technology. It's a technology.
It is technology.
But we still say authentic food I'm making. If you say authentic is cooking on a coal or a chula. So the food keeps changing. And technology will definitely play the role, and any chef, he is only modern or he is contemporary if we change with the technology, but still keep cooking the food where you can compare or the traditional style. I would like to use the word more traditional than authentic.
Right.
And there you see the texture. You have to create the texture. Like they were talking, giving the Mogri Musallam, and they're talking about the different ways of understanding exposure to the global food, and because the technology came in, the different processes come in. Nobody is interested how you do the process. If you can maintain the texture and flavor and the taste, which can be linked with the tradition. You see, creativity in the food is you make something new, but you can still link with the tradition. That creativity has no meaning if you cannot link with the tradition. And that is the problem what fusion, what he was saying. If it is your mixing of cuisine, and if you use the word fusion, it means very clearly it shows you don't understand both the cuisine which you mix together. You have no knowledge on the cuisines, but you mixed it together. That's its fusion. Food evolved with the time.
And I think I'd just like to add one in continuation with Chef Gill's point. While we were working on fire, we all realized that food is simply a memory.
Mm-hmm.
Food is simply a memory, and our aim was whatever technique we use, whatever technology we use, if in the first bite it cannot regenerate that memory, that oh my god, this is dal makhani, or this is this, or this is that, we would drop it if it was not recreating that taste and that memory that we have.
Yeah, that's the Dean, I'm telling that food, anything you create, it must be, you can link it with the traditional food.
Gee,
it's a food which is traditional now. You can get those flavors and the taste. Process, it doesn't matter how you do it.
Gee.
It's totally
Agreed, Chef, 100%.
And then, when we say that what is Indian food, we're talking about the recipes and all that. We all understand the Western food. We are also trained, worked in Oberoi's, all worked on the foreign chefs and all that. The recipes are never a standard. They were standardized even in the Western world to teach and train people. Actually. What were the standard recipes and the food before the stuff here? Anybody can tell that? Nothing. Nobody can. So we only keep degrading our food, saying our food is not standard, it's not standardized. We must understand Indian food is a philosophy, it's a science. And that science is universal. If you follow that science, the food is cooking with the Indian science. And still in India, we say food is very diverse. We keep talking about that. But still we call it Indian food. Why? Because pan-India, the science doesn't change. It remains same. In our ancestors have said, follow this science. This is the Indian way of cooking. This is science of cooking. Now be creative with your flora, fauna and climate.
Absolutely, sir.
This is where the diversity came in. It is not, it's a different food. That's why it's Indian food. The science doesn't change. Everywhere is same. But flora, fauna is different, climate is different, so food processes have become different. So that's what Indian food is very standard. As far as science is concerned, it's a very evolved food. And I'm sure if you follow the Indian food of science, which is so-called Ayurveda gastronomy, I think the whole world food can be improved for wellness.
No, the West is looking at us.
I think on
I
that
tell
note,
you, I tell you, just give me 30 seconds more.
आपका second,
Sure.
आपका इसके बाद panel में आप आओगे?
No, that may be a different topic.
Okay, fine.
Please, sir.
I don't know if
Please
that's
go
valid.
ahead.
No, I'm just saying that in the Ayurveda or the Indian gastronomic science, there is the incompatibility of food.
Ji.
And I think now today's nutrition is working on antagonistic food or something like that. But this incompatibility is written thousands of years back. And what are there are about 18, 20 incompatibilities. What are the two first incompatibilities? What are they? One is Desh Virodha. It should not be against the local region. That's what people are talking today. It was documented thousands of years back. The
From
other
the
is
land.
Kal Virodha. It should not be against the time, means
Correct.
season. So this is what two
Key.
jargons you say or the statements are made. People are talking, food should be seasonal, food should be local.
It's been written.
That's what Indian gastronomy is.
Amazing.
If the world follow these two things, forget about next 15, the wellness will start, the healthy body will start, body and the mind. And
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chef. And thank you to all my panelists. And we can take the discussion off. And the power is gone off now. I think Delhi Electricity Board is also fed up with this talk.
Thank you so much, Bikramjeet San, for that discussion. And thank you to all our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, can we all put our hands together once again for that very, very insightful discussion. And with that, we are now going to jump into a 10-minute bio break. But please make sure, everybody, that let's be back in exactly 10 minutes from now and you're back at your seats so that we can proceed with the rest of the part of the event. Thank you so much, everyone, and please remember to be back in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
आउटपुट चेक करना, कैमरा में, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, हाँ चल।
Fresh now, and I request you all to please keep your phones on the silent mode as we resume the session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we jump into the last and the final panel discussion of the day, it addresses a very, very important theme. The ideal relationship between owner and chef, trust and deliciousness. To lead this conversation, as you can see, our moderator and panelists are already on the stage, but I would love to introduce them. Leading the conversation, our moderator, Harry's son, is here. Joining him on stage, Mr. Kabir Advani, Managing Partner at Burkos, Chef Prashant Urankar, Head of New Product Development and Innovation at Agrostark, Chef Manjeet Singh Gill, President, Indian Federation of Culinary Associations and Kikoman Industry Advisor. Everybody, can we all please put our hands together for our moderator and the panelists? Thank you. Over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And I know we're in the third panel discussion, and thank you so much for your efforts to listen and learn, and I really appreciate you all being here today. This session is actually a kind of a sort of a sum up for the first two sessions, in a sense, because we're talking a little bit about this trust, about this fake and real, but I thought I like the tension between the chef and owner, right? You're an owner, right? And you're not a chef, right? But you have worked with many chefs before, so I'm sure there's this love and hate relationships with chefs. I mean, they can not only be love, right? There has to be some sort of hate. I mean, I don't know, but we were wanting to get somebody who was a chef and an owner at the same time, right? Which is not. It's okay. Aram se. No, but he's gone. That's why we sent him out. But the whole point is, it's this tension between chefs and owners. It's a good tension, but also this love and hate relationship. But let's start with you. What is the ideal relationship between? Is it a love-hate relationship, or what is it? Is it a collaborative relationship? What is it?
I guess it's purely collaborative, and it's based on a lot of trust. I mean, both really need to work together. For me, I believe food is king, and the chef is probably my most important asset that we have. And you know, we won't be where we were without the chef.
Well, then, say, I think Prashant, you're like a more of an R&D chef, right? Right. So, you produce meals for thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, who, in a sense, are unseen, if you know what I mean, right? And you obviously are part of the senior management team, but you also have an ownership to report to. Now, what is for you the ideal relationship between you and your owner? Is the relationship going well, or how is the relationship?
Well, that's a very good question, Harrison, that you've put forward. Majorly, when it comes to me, I have been always working in the engine room, that is the R&D center for every food company. There is a bigger trust involved over here when it comes to consumer food safety. And what we believe, and I choose organizations to work with, and the first ethical thing that we... Hello? Yeah. The first ethical thing that we see is what's the management view on when it comes to food safety. Every food company in India, thanks to FSSAI, when we heard about the director speaking about all these things, post 2011, there has been a lot of changes that has happened in Indian food industry. Let it be restaurants, hotels. Previously, every chef would agree with me that most of the stuff in India, which was imported, used to come with expiry dates which were shorter. Now they have stricter regulations. So when it comes to relationship between an owner and a chef, I guess my MD and my boss, they both tell the entire management team that Prashant is the most difficult to work with, because he's the only person who says no and has got the guts to say no. Because I'm very straight with when it comes to ingredients. Like the way Kikoman ethics follow, it's simple, it's 4 ingredients, and it's natural brewed.
But is it, to ask you a very challenging question, what if you say no and they disagree with you?
There is a methodical way to say no and prove it.
Like you mean diplomatically, you mean?
So I'll just tell you an example. I was approached by a national brand to develop a rice in a retorted format. The moment I got the brief, there was cost issue. And I was told, oh, you can use Sela. I said, I will never use Sela. I put my foot down. I sent my purchase team to resource the right rice quality, 1121 triple XL. I made sure I approached 10 different brands. I got quotations, and I made a rice which was up to the brief and which was more flavorful, really authentic. The word authentic I'm using because we got the certifications right, and it fit in the price.
Yeah, so that's basically because you're a good chef. What if the chef cannot have these discussions? That the chef will be a yes man.
No.
Sorry, can you?
No, nothing against the community.
You're no longer moderating the session, please. Excuse me.
See, I mean, many people will agree with me over here who are chefs. We do not bend rules when it comes to quality. We do not bend rules.
Okay, let's hear that from chef. Yes, I want to hear this. Do chefs bend quality? Because I think sometimes, to be on the aggressive side, potentially chefs may bend rules. I don't know, maybe.
But they both put me into catch-22. He said very nice words, and he also said very nice words. I don't know, what is your question?
My question? Okay.
No, I know. Your question is different. You see, I'll put it in one, I'll say that as a society, we must understand who is a cook, who is a chef. Any person wearing a white jacket is not a chef. It means to me, ma'am, like being a medical profession, technician and the doctor is same. Because technician also has a great experience. Technician might be able to recommend the medicine also, because he has seen so much, but you don't call it a doctor. is the difference between mason and a civil engineer. There are masons, you should show them the building plan, they will keep, they'll execute the whole building. Without the engineer, they don't need, they have so much of experience, but you don't call them engineer. So we must understand first the difference. This is where the problem happens, when the owner thinks, I'm not saying that to you, when the owner thinks anybody wearing in the kitchen white jacket is a chef, he treats them a right chef like a cook, and he expects from the cook what he actually chef can deliver. So there is a big mismatch and understanding in this society, and the same thing follows into the industry. Same way the owners, the general managers, or the people who think, and another thing which is not able to understand the people, that in a hotel or a restaurant, there is something called kitchen, and the whole other part is called management. I don't understand what is this management, so-called management. What is this management? Who is doing a better management than the kitchen, the chef in the kitchen? Chef does the finest time management. 8 o'clock dinner is 8 o'clock dinner. Cannot be, okay, come tomorrow, I'll give you dinner. Whether ingredients come from the market at the right time or not, whether of that quality you get fresh produce, proprietary thing is you get fresh produce has come from the market or not, the right, but the dish has to go to the customer because you are charging a particular amount of money, has to go of that standard. That is where the management of skills, the management of people, management of the time come into that. Chef is the finest management person. Chef knows how to motivate people, because restaurant open at 7, everything is fresh. People are fresh, start working. But by 10:30, 11, in those environments, how much you get exhausted, but food cannot change. That is how the chef standing outside motivate his people for every order that is specially made for the customer, for a particular customer. It doesn't matter what time it is. So that's his management of motivating people. That is the people's management. He knows which person can give the best result for a particular. He knows how to allocate the work to the people to get the best results. That's his management. Chef is the finest revenue management. Revenue, I would say finance, the cost. Most variable cost in F&B is the cost of food. Restaurant costs are fixed, and that the rest of the management handle. But the variable cost, chef handles. Chef loses his job at the end of the year if he has not given the right cost for the right profitability of that year. So that's the cost management that person has to do without compromising the quality. So people have to understand the chef, that what chef do. And nowadays, after doing all these things, chef has to handle the social media and the PR also. I have seen, I am there in the industry last 52 years. I have seen there was
54 years, right? 54 years.
Okay, it's okay, that's fine. I know when they used to be PR managers and they used to handle the media, mostly print media that time, then electronic came in. But last 30, 35 years, PR manager's job is only, chef so-and-so person coming from the media, please talk. Now chef has to handle. Chef is there as an image maker. That's what chef does. But it's still all technical man, not a management. When the owners, when the so-called management with the F&B industry will understand what chef does, relationship will be much better. Business will be more sustainable. Business will be more profitable. I'll otherwise keep going on and on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, I think what we've decided to do is we were actually going to get the chef to do a closing remarks, but I think we've heard so much good things from him, so that we're going to cut that bit, okay? But because it's fine, because it's already past, tea time. But I think when I was just hearing this conversation, what we haven't really discussed today is the word respect, right? Trust is one thing, right? Cost is one thing, right? This respect is what is, I think, perhaps most important and maybe lacking now in the industry, in the sense that more can be done. Respect for time, respect for ingredients, respect for proper conversations, respect for each other's opinions, and that sometimes, I think, being in India 18 years, I think, I respect India so much. India has taught me so much. But there's actually so much more that needs upgrading towards global norms. That doesn't mean to say Japan cannot learn from India. But if you just look at, go to a restaurant in Tokyo or a restaurant in New York, and sometimes you go to a restaurant in India, you're like, what is this difference, And there are, I always say, like a hotel or a restaurant, there are so many moving parts. We're having this discussion, a 3-panel discussion is not sufficient. There's other issues, HR, there's issues of, just hygiene that we talked a little bit, but there's so many moving parts. Nutrition, for example, right? There's so many moving parts to a restaurant. But what I think sometimes that is, the difficulty, and maybe this discussion will lead to this sort of purchasing this bean counters as well. Because there's obviously the need for the quality of food, the respect towards the ingredients, respect for the staff, the respect for all of that. But it's an inexact science. And how many restaurants last for 50 years? How many? Do you know any restaurants that last for 50 years? Very few, no? Maybe they're 10 years restaurants, 30 years restaurants. Some are there for 3 years, some are there for 3 months, some are there for 2 weeks. Maybe not 2 weeks. There's one restaurant. Now, I'm sure there are many restaurants which have actually stood the test of time. And that goes back to respect. And that respect figured into trust. But Kabir-san, maybe for you, what is your view on this?
So I guess trust and respect go hand in hand, and if you don't give respect, you're not going to get respect. And I read a very nice thing the other day. It says, the chef protects the plate,
right?
The owner protects the brand, and the magic happens when they protect each other.
Oh, nice.
So really.
Did you write that, or?
No, I wish I did. I wish I did. Yeah,
so
that's good. Having said that, I guess food is king. I always believe that.
Yeah.
And you have to respect your shelf, and you've seen that. We are such good friends, and in spite of that, we have to respect what our chefs feel about,
yes,
the challenge of bringing in, whether it's whatever. So I guess that's critical. And I guess it depends on what kind of food. I'll give you an example which I thought was very interesting. I'll share with you. We just opened an outlet in Patna airport. So I went to Patna to open the outlet, and I just asked them which is a good place where there's rush, and go take me to a restaurant which is there. So they took me to one dhaba type of a place, but rocking. It was packed, and they were selling. It was amazing, but 90% of his food came from one dish. It was then champaran meat. That's all he sold. And it was packed, and it was purely the restaurant was running on food. It was this thing. As a matter of fact, when we sat down, they served me. They gave the champaran meat, and they gave 2 rotis along with that chapati. I said, I want one. Give me. And they were serving on disposable plate, that patta they were serving. So the waiter asked me, I told him, give me an empty patta, I want to put that chapati. Kyun chahiye? He is asking me, why do you want it? If that didn't happen, we were sitting out there, some 2 other people came and joined us, and they're regulars over there. They said कि हमने अजीत को order दे दिया. He said, फिर आप अजीत के table पे जाके बैठो. That was the level of service, but it was packed. The food was rocking. They loved the food, but so it's the chef ultimately, the food which is absolutely king, and trust, and like you said, respect is mutual.
So no, Prashant-san, like I think that the challenge is, I mean, it's always easy to say and very difficult to do, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to say, but it's very, very difficult to do. Like, even in food costs or whatever the case may be. But what do you find the most difficult point with the relationship with the management, or there's no difficulty?
No. See, if the brief is clear within 2 people or with the management and the chef, life becomes easier. So one should see clarity, what kind of cuisine they want to make, what kind of food presentation they want to make, what kind of staffing do you want, what kind of infrastructure do you want. And basically, trust deliciousness is nothing but, it's nothing about great tasting product. It's about the, it's about the intersection of credibility, your quality and safety. That is more important. That's what I feel. And I guess anybody in the business would not be so stubborn not to listen to a chef. I mean, they need to understand, like sir said, he mentioned that, chef is the artist who actually gives you the best product. So if they want that magic to happen, they need to understand the science behind it. I always say that, chef is an artist, he has to be a scientist, he has to be a performer. Like Chef Manjeet also mentioned that, nowadays we have to also handle the media. That's what it is all about. But they are the best managers. Yeah. That's what I feel. Yeah. You step into every shoe wherever it's required, and you perform.
I think I'd like to end this session by a thought for everybody. This title says, ideal relationship between owner and chef, brackets, trust, deliciousness. So I was just thinking, a chef can become an owner, but the owner cannot become a chef. Right? Unless you go for Manjit Gill's 3-year course or something like that. No, which and I leave the thought with you. I mean, would you become an owner one day, or would you just we call this division of labor of capital and labor, say, but would you aspire to be a chef with an owner, or do you just want to focus on the chef bit?
I will someday definitely want to be a owner, but the chef inside me will never die. That's what I can say.
And I guess unless you do the 3-year Manjit course, Kabir-san will remain an owner. Yeah. No, but you can go on his course, 3-year course.
It's like I cannot become an owner. If today I'm called as managing director of Eco Hospitality and all that, because of my son does the business, not I do the business. Right. I cannot.
So you're a chef. You're a chef and you're not an owner.
I am a good employee. Anybody can hire me for an employee. I can perform very well and give you the profitability also, but I cannot be an owner. So I don't have that business sense, because to be an owner, you need a very different kind of business sense. You need not to be technical. There are lots of people, their background is very different, but they do very different business because they know how to manage the business. Yeah. So it's a 2 different professions, 2 different things.
It's a great partnership to have.
Yeah,
I think it's a great partnership to have. Why? Because everyone has got their own skill sets. And I think if as owners we can free the chefs of this back end stuff and leave them free for their own creative skills, I think that's a great partnership to have.
Thank you all for a wonderful discussion. A round of applause for these wonderful speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Harry-san, and all our wonderful panelists. I'm sure that this was very, very engaging and very insightful for the entire audience sitting here. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, can we all put our hands together for all our incredible speakers? Thank you so much. And with that, everybody, as we take this evening ahead, we now move on to a very, very exciting milestone for us. The launch of the KCC, Kikoman Center for Chinese Cuisine. Now to lead this session, once again, everybody, please welcome Harry Sun on the stage, joined by our esteemed founding members, Chef Manjeet Singhil and Mr. Kabir Advani.
Hello. And I think, alright, Kabir-san. Kabir-san, どうぞどうぞ. Is somebody doing the slides or should I? Is somebody doing slides? Okay, okay. どうぞどうぞ. Please sit down. Oh, you can sit down. Oh, you want to stand? Okay. Well, anyway, I'm very pleased on behalf of Kikoman. I'm very proud as I am to welcome the two founding members. There are 4 founding members, Chef Manjeet Gill, Mr. Kabir Advani. I was about to say chef by mistake. Joel Huang, who is from Kolkata. He is the executive chef of YouTube. Which is one of the oldest family-run Chinese restaurants in India. Unfortunately, he could not come because his mother had passed away. I was with him yesterday. Josephine, who led the restaurant for many years, an amazing man. And also our representative director and senior executive corporate officer of Kikoman, who is now in Japan. So these 4 are the founding members of KCC, which is a Kikoman new initiative to be able to promote better understanding and better appreciation about Chinese food in India. If you can get the next slide. So we also have an advisor who is Mr. Ryosuke Tamura, who is a chef of the Michelin-starred Chinese restaurant called Itsuka. A very, very nice restaurant. If you get any chance to go to Japan, I highly recommend you go to his restaurant. Very tasty, a little bit expensive, but very good. And then next. And our core mission, just so that you understand, is that the KCC operate based on 3 core missions to support the growth of the Indian Chinese culinary world, provide a platform for information dissemination and education, identify and nurture talent, and then elevate the quality overall. This is the mission that we have. Next. And we are now launching an Instagram site and then also an official website, as well as the YouTube will come a little bit later on. We will also do a lot of development and networking, and we will also have an evaluation and certification scheme around Chinese cuisine so that training and development and upgrading of skills can happen. As you know, in India right now, Indian cuisine is much more related towards European cuisine, as well as perhaps more towards Indian cuisine, with very little attention on growing Asian cuisine, including Chinese cuisine, Japanese cuisine, etc. So this forum, we're trying to do chef evaluation and certification scheme that we hope will elevate the whole upgrading of Chinese cuisine in India. Yeah, next please. And then we've also developed a logo today, which is available here, where the KCC logo is inspired by a wok, a symbol of Chinese cuisine, with the trajectory of a flame representing the convergence of Indian and Chinese food cultures, and the colorful palette expresses the diverse future of food. Pretty amazing, huh? Yeah? Yeah? Thank you. And so we just have an interview session. So I just wanted to maybe, since neither Mogi nor Chef Joe could come, maybe both of you can maybe, say a few words about what you want to do.
Thanks, Harry. And I guess we've had this conversation before, and I tell you honestly, Harry spoke about effort this morning, and I think probably I keep on telling my kids also, he's an inspiration with effort. I think you should all give him a round of applause. He's an absolute inspiration. The effort he puts in is absolutely unreal, and I'm more than happy to be a part of the initiative. And I guess what we are planning to do is well defined. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I think it's a wonderful initiative. But you all must be surprised that a person like me connected with the founder member of the Chinese, and I'm more known now as that I only know Indian food, I don't know the other foods. People think like that, it's okay. You see, the idea is only to make people understand the food. So that is a very universal language. So I think I'll be able to do the justice with this when I'm involved in this now fully. And the other thing, in India, this kind of a thing, we can only think in India to do it. You think in any other country, maybe in the European country which are known for great food, to train their local food for the Chinese food in their country? No way. That's the science of India. That is the science of taste in India. We are so evolved with the food, everyone, whether you are professionally cooking or not cooking, but we are evolved with the taste. For us, it's very easy to understand the techniques, understand the rudiments of that food, we are able to recreate it. That's why you must have seen in India, is the only country where our locals are producing Chinese, Japanese, Italian, European. They have never been out, like I think Sebi was talking about that. They have never been out, but they can produce it. And they can have people sitting in the restaurant may not be able to even find out that who's cooking. So that close cooking they can do may not be as original as over there, but it can give you the right flavor over here. So that way we can be able to do it in India. And in any case, India is a gastronomic country. We have all kind of people here, people come here, foods we have. We ourselves are very adventurous in trying out the new cuisines, the new food. We are very adventurous as Indians because our background is like that. Our science is like that of food. So we are very adventurous. So we like to taste. So we need to upgrade every cuisine, whichever is available here. And the East cuisine of East is very close to us. Culturally, we are very, very similar. Maybe because we are different because of our culture, local flora, fauna, and the climates. So I think it's a great initiative. There is a need of the hour in our country. We need the great chefs, the cooks, to come up and create a good food, which is, wellness and good for the nourishment and for the body and mind and soul.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Kabir-san. I think what I just like to say is that this initiative is just starting. We want many people to be involved, and I want all of the younger generation who's chatting in the back, which is fine because they're students. But I hope all of you can participate, and we'll be doing videos, we'll be doing lectures, we'll be doing seminars, we'll be doing training sessions, we'll be doing accreditation sessions, etc. It's just starting. But I think it's an interesting initiative, and as Kikoman is in here for the long term, for the next 100 years. Let's try to work together and develop more upgrading and more training and development in this sector of Indian Chinese in India, and obviously we will be able to take Indian Chinese global as well, which is I think what Kabir-san probably will be doing in the future. unless he becomes the chef. So thank you so much, everybody. And I think we're just doing a photo session. Thank you. Thank you. First, you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we all put our hands together as we're all here to witness this amazing, incredible moment right here in front of us. Harry-san, I request you as well to join the gentlemen for the group picture. Everybody, once again, can we all put our hands together as we mark the beginning of a new era for the Chinese cuisine in India. We look forward to growing alongside all our incredible chefs right here. Thank you so much, Harry-san, Chef Manjeet and Kabir-san, as you joined us on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, as we now come towards the closing of today's event, I would like to call upon stage Mr. Kamal Kant Pant, Principal of IHM Pusa, to kindly grace the stage and share the closing remarks for today's session. Everybody, can we all please put our hands together? Thank you.
Thank you. What a pleasure it has been to witness this Kikoman Culinary Experts meetup today and the competitions which were organized yesterday under the banner of Kikoman. It says volumes about the kind of trust and regard that people, the fraternity has for the brand Kikoman, that people from across the country, our sister institutions in Mumbai, Kolkata and other places, they found the energy, time and they put in the effort to travel to Delhi and participate in that competition. The level of judgment or the kind of challenges which were given to these participants was exemplary. And not only for the students, for the professionals as well in the afternoon, though I had to miss this afternoon session because NIFTM had a program where I was supposed to be representing on a panel and I had to leave. But I have heard and the report which I received in the evening, it was equally good. Somebody said about effort and they took the name of Harry-san. The effort, Bisadwani, you said, you know, he personifies efforts and all. But I think I would like to go a step further. The kind of micro planning, the little details that he puts into his events, that is something which speaks volume. And I think this is something which comes out of the Kikoman brand, a brand which is more than 300 years old. And when it is thinking, we talk about strategic planning, you know, we have people who are top of their game, you know, the hotel general managers and whatnot. Strategic planning, you know, at best we are thinking in terms of 20 years, 25 years. And here is a company which is thinking about next 100 years and how the firmament of the restaurant and global food industry would be. I think that speaks volume about it. I'm very happy that Kikoman and especially Harry-san and his team chose IHM Pusa to host an event like this in this venue. We have been lucky in the year 2026, January, under the leadership of Chef, we had pleasure of, you know, hosting international chefs, training them about Indian food. That is how the year 2026 started for us. And later in the third week of January, you know, we had this PSG Chamber finals of the chefs competition happening. And last week again, we could see who's who of the industry, represented on this very stage. So the going is very good, and this event, is another link in that long chain that we have here. I'm really very impressed. I was making notes, every panel which was there, and the topics which were there for discussion, up for discussion on every panel. I think every student, culinary student and a hospitality student, these are the burning issues from each one of them. What is trust? How it is supposed to be built, right? What is the role of social media? One thing I was just thinking it to myself, we are living in the age of media. There are so many reality chefs. I'm not only talking about master chef competitions and stuff like that, but we have seen reality shows in which the singers were chosen and dancers have been chosen and different artists of different crafts have been chosen. I was reminded that one of the most famous singers of Hindi Bollywood, Arijit Singh, in the competition when he was a contender for the title, he did not win that title. And then there were so many other contests, the person who got the maximum votes, the person who was judged as a winner, you don't even see them around anymore, right? So social media is, and I think food is, in our ethos, it is something very, very sacred. Food is Anna Devta for us. And we have to treat it with respect. In social media, we are appalled by things. There are people, very popular outlets. Chef said, dairy dal, but I think it is dairy egg, dairy. Those are the kind of things they are being called, heart attack on the plate. Those kind of things are being served on the streets, in the restaurants, and so many other places. Somebody has to, think about trust because food is not like clothing. It is not like the car that you're driving. It is not like a style that you're wearing or a perfume that you're wearing. The food becomes part of your body. It becomes a part of you. And there is more trust, there is more responsibility which is required in food. The other one, authentic and fake. I just wonder, sometime, did Mughal right from Babur to Aurangzeb and Bahadur Shah Zafar eat the kind of Mughlai food which we are popularizing now? Did Birbal know the Birbali handi which would be, becoming so much popular? I think food is about fantasy, and I think very appropriately summed up by Chef Manjeet Singh Gill. I call him the Maharaja of Indian kitchens. I'm a little saddened also because our Indian icon is forced to be shared with the Chinese culinary but he summed it up very nicely that it is something which is evolving. What is authentic, what is traditional today, with the passage of time, that would become transformed, right? He talked about the fuel that we are using, even the ingredients. 200, 300 years back, now the food historians tell us the most of the things on our plate have been brought into this country by the Portuguese. They don't really belong to us. Chilies and potatoes and tomatoes, just imagine, right? So there are some places, temple cuisines, if you eat a meal in Jagannath Puri temple, that is the food probably our forefathers had been, eating. And the last thing about chef and owner, I started my career as a chef. First 7 years I spent in kitchens myself before I became a human resources person and an educator. I used to interact with a lot of groups coming in from Japan, and the kind of respect Japanese guests in general would have for a chef. And then interacting with some of the group leaders, I learned that in Japanese culture, most of the time it is the chef who is also the owner of the. So I don't know why this debate is here today, and it was disheartening to hear from Chef Gill that he did not want to be an owner of a place or something, but well, that is the way to go. I think chef owners could be the best thing. And this initiative, which has been started by Kikoman, the Indo-Chinese, a batchmate of mine who trained as a chef along with me, he runs a chain of Indo-Chinese restaurants in Singapore. They are called Bombay Walk. So they are not very upscale kind of restaurants, but very popular with cab drivers. And he was telling me last when I visited him in Singapore that my food is more popular with the Chinese cab drivers rather than the Indian cab drivers. They go to Serangoon Road to have their sambar and those kind of things, but the Chinese people love the Indo-Chinese kind of food which is being dished out to them. So I do not want to take a lot of time. I owe a big gratitude to Kikoman, Harisa in particular, his team, and I would also like to mention here my colleagues, the head of department. I have not seen her today since this morning, but I think there is a lot of flapping and paddling that she has been doing backstage there, and her entire team for making this event so successful. I look forward to many more events like this. This is the place, last month, you know, the Honorable Minister Tourism said that this is Mecca for hospitality. It is Mecca for culinary professionals. And I think much more people like today's gathering has to be brought in. And I would request Harisa to help us in that. And thank you very much. We are really honored by the presence of so many experts to Aichampusa this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pant, for your very, very kind words. With that, ladies and gentlemen, before we officially conclude the session for today, we would like to take this moment to felicitate all our speakers, our moderators, and our esteemed guests. Your expertise and your vision has actually made the 4th annual Kikoman Culinary Experts Meetup a resounding success. May I kindly request Harry-san once again to please join me on the stage for the felicitation. Everyone, can we all put our hands together? Come on. Thank you. Now with that, as I call your name, I request you to kindly step forward to come up on the stage and receive the token of appreciation. Chef Manish Mehrotra. He's not there? Okay, we can still applaud for him. All right, next up, Miss Sumana Mukherjee. All right, everyone, can we all put our hands together? I'm sure that everybody had taken away some very important keynotes and insights from all the sessions today. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Nandita Iyer. Thank you, Dr. Iyer, for all your contribution for today. Everybody, yes, come on, we can make that louder, right? Thank you. Next up, please welcome on stage Chef Rituparna Banerjee. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, can we all put our hands together as we felicitate our guests and our speakers. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Mr. Bikramjeet Ray. He's been the moderator for one of our panels and beautiful conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Ray, for your contribution for today. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Chef Sabi Gorai. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, please put your hands together for Mr. Kabir Adwani. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Chef Prashant Urankar. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, please put your hands together for Mr. Sanjay Gupta. Everyone, we can make this louder. We're almost towards the end. Thank you. Last but definitely not the least, please allow me to call upon stage Mr. Prateek Arora. Thank you, Harry-san, for joining us. And once again, before I let you go, a big thanks to everyone, to all our speakers, our esteemed guests, everybody who took our time from their schedule to come in and join us today. A very special thanks to Manjeet-san as well for joining us, for your time and contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, before I let you all go, I would request all our moderators, our speakers, our guests to please come up on the stage for a group photograph. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful memory that we're going to take away from today. So all our speakers, all our guests, our chefs, everyone, can I please request you to join us on the stage for a group picture. Once again, all our speakers, our moderators, our keynote guests, I request everybody to please join us on the stage. This is our moment, our memory that we are going to take away from today's session. So we can be in 2 rows, just like in school, all the shorter ones can be in front. All right. Or we can try to make a semicircle if that is possible. Can you all move forward, everyone? Can we all take 3 to 4 steps forward? Yes. I would request everyone to move a little forward. Alright, amazing. It is now time for us to get a beautiful picture. Let us all capture this incredible gathering of culinary minds. Okay, everybody, can we all make a V sign, because V represents victory and today is the victory for us. Everyone on stage, can we all make a V sign? Amazing. I think it's going to be a beautiful picture with a V sign. Ladies and gentlemen, can we all put our hands together once again for these incredible culinary minds who joined us today. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I request you all to take your seats back. Thank you so much. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we now invite all of you to join us for the high tea and the networking session. And also, just to let you know, we have a very, very special and a surprising menu that has been prepared for you today to demonstrate the incredible versatility of our products. Every single item, from the cocktails to the desserts, incorporates Kikkoman soya sauce, Kikkoman dark soya sauce, and Kikkoman oyster flavored sauce. And also remember, on your way out, please collect your CEM 2026 souvenir bag featuring the KCC logo tumbler, Kikoman manga, and special gift from our sponsors QP and Yakult. Thank you so much everybody for being a part of this journey, and I wish that you have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you.